We're gonna do a song that you never heard before. The volume.
Hear the drummer get wicked. Here we go again.
Ace Kennedy, my brother from another mother.
What up, bro?
Hey man, I'm hosting for Thanksgiving, man. You got any plans?
I have plans. I don't know them.
Mm.
I just know that what I'm
Okay.
bringing, but I don't. I guess Sarah has the details. So apparently, because I texted them earlier this week, and they was like, "Oh, the plans has already been set. Sarah knows them." I was like, "Okay, well."
So you just the last one to get the plan then.
It's how it always is, bro.
Oh man. Hey, let's get that music going then, bro. We got some things to talk about for these jive turkeys.
It doesn't matter what your name is.
Slash Brothers Podcast, the greatest podcast of all time. The Slash Brothers Podcast, the greatest podcast.
If you
of all time.
smell what the rock. It doesn't matter what your name is.
Slash Brothers Podcast, the greatest podcast of all time. The greatest podcast of all time.
Hey, listen, if you haven't already, be sure to like and subscribe to the Slash Brothers YouTube, Facebook, and our new TikTok page. We are live on both platforms at the same time. Whenever you click on the notification, you click on the bell, you get the heads up whenever your boys and Miss doing a thing. Ace Kennedy. I don't know if we got into this as much on the last episode though, man. But I know you and I talked about it. I just wanted to see what you thought in light of some recent things. But we talked about Steph Curry and Under Armour have decided that after next year or at the beginning of the year that they are going to part ways from them and their Curry brand. Um, can you tell me again what you think about that in general? And outside of that, where do you see Steph Curry landing with the Curry brand?
Um, I don't know what I think about that. I think they did some rebranding and they got some new ownership at Under Armour. Oh, excuse me, and probably couldn't come to an agreement with Steph on the future. So they parting ways. I think it's a mutual parting of ways. I think he's going Nike just because of his pregame warm up stuff that he's been doing. I think that's where the destination will be. I think for Steph, he likes being in stores, so I don't think he's gonna do a international brand like you know uh what's my boy from Boston? Oh my gosh,
Kyrie,
no, no,
Jalen Brown.
Jaylen Brown. I don't think he will do that. Even with D Wade and what Joker and them are doing. So I think he likes being in stores. Uh, but I mean, I think he's going Nike. That's what I think.
I think that here's the thing that I do believe that to be interesting. I think that what I would love to see him do is something similar to what I think that LeBron was trying to do, right? Where he was trying to get like the I'm sorry, I'm seeing looking on something on the ground. I think it's weird. But I like to see him do something that I think LeBron was trying to do. And I think others have done the same thing where you have all right, you got the LeBron James brand under Nike, where you have people that are signed to LeBron for their shoe, right? And that's always a tricky thing to do because a lot of times, oh man, if you got a guy who's big enough, as a name, right? That they would just want to say, well, I could just go directly with them. And I think a lot of times, what I think that I'd like to see Steph go ahead and keep going with his Curry brand. I think that he had a couple of the ballers that I think that he had, for example, had the girl Paige Becker's girlfriend was signed to Curry brand right out of high school, though, right? And so I think that I'd like to see him also position his Curry brand as still like a standalone, though, man. Not to say that he has to do it independently, though, right? But I think that if Steph Curry looks at his brand very similar to a LeBron, right? It's like even separately from a LeBron, he's looking at his brand like a Jordan, right? How Jordan may have other guys signed to him, and so I think that that's where he was positioned. I just don't know that with Steph at this point in his career, he's still like a face of the league. I think that he's still like a top 5 face in the NBA. And so I think that from that he could do it. I just wonder long term if Nike is where he could do that because no other players have been able to do that so far.
Well, first of all, we not finna allow you to disrespect what you just did. You really just inserted your goat in there like that, talking about Nike having a deal off of Nike and signing people underneath LeBron, like that wasn't a
Yeah.
Jordan thing first.
Well, no. Let me correct you. Where I'm going with that. Let me correct myself in that. I totally agree that that's what Jordan did. That's why I said that Curry probably sees himself like a Jordan brand where he can sign other guys to. But I think at one point, though, LeBron James was flirting around the idea with Nike of having a LeBron James brand where he would be able to sign athletes. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe Luca was one of the players that LeBron James wanted to originally have signed to his own brand that Luca eventually wound up getting his own shoe deal, though. That's where I was going with that. I
Luca went
think
with
that
Jordan.
yes, Luca went the Jordan route, right? Which I guess makes sense for him. But I think that he approached Luca very early on, saw where Luca could be, and I think that it would have made sense if LeBron could have pulled it off. I just think that the hardest part about that, so like Steph Curry has De'Aaron Fox currently signed to the Curry brand, right? And I think that what's hard to do is when you're an active player and you basically have somebody else signed to you. I'd imagine that there's a little bit of ego competitiveness going on there as well. But the De'Aaron Fox is the only person that I know that's signed to another active player's shoe brand, right? I don't think that, as far as I'm aware, I don't know that LeBron has been able to sign any other players under his shoe brand. So, but again, Jordan, he's Jordan, right? And but I think that I don't know that Jordan would have been able to get somebody to sign with Jordan before he retired, right? I don't think that those guys who were trying
No,
to beat him would sign him.
absolutely not, because that's a
Yeah,
great stepping point to talking trash to you, calling him son every time you see him. But
absolutely.
Steph though wouldn't. I don't think that would be the same with Steph because Steph ain't the one that talks trash on the court like that. So I don't know that that would be, which is why I think De'Aaron Fox was okay with signing with him.
Listen, I'm gonna be honest with you though, man. There are a lot of guys that I think that it makes sense to me. Like some of the guys might have endorsement deals or a shoe deal, or they might sign with Nike, but they don't have a signature shoe. They might get a signature colorway, they might have a signature edition. But listen, if I'm completely honest, I would love to see somebody like Chet. I know that they got their shoe, they got an endorsement with Nike and everything like that. But if you're Chet and you can say, no, I can get my own shoe. If you J Dub, if you can get your own shoe with Curry, I know that they kind of got their thing with Adidas and Nike, respectively, though, man. But I wouldn't be mad at those guys who might not be superstars yet, but that are the right below that, the star players or other like all-star level players who don't have their tennis shoe to sign with somebody like a Curry, to sign with LeBron specifically, though, man. So,
Well, that's
um,
funny you say that because now that I think about it, Chet is like he's signed to KD,
yes,
and then James Harden, like he signed J Dub because they all have their signature colorway of the active players. But you know,
I'd imagine though, right? The difference to me would be like if you're under James Harden, right, and you get not just a James Harden signature colorway or signature your actual feedback on it. No, your whole shoe, right? That to me would be like that would be like you being signed to G Unit through Shady Aftermath, right? You're signed to 50, you putting out music, or you signed to Murder Inc. You're putting out music on the Def Jam imprint through them, but you got that. Like I think that it would be dope to see Chet with his signature shoe, J Dub with his signature shoe. And I think that I thought that would always be the goal, right? To get your own shoe. And so if you can't necessarily get that on your own, and you can't get it directly with Nike, if you were able to sign with LeBron, I think that would be fired. I had to say I would sign with you if that meant that I get my own signature shoe.
no, I get that, but I think the reason why it's not a big deal for J Dub and Chet is because they're paying homage to the old Thunder. So I think that's dope. But I understand
Okay,
what you're
I
saying.
get it.
The goal
But there,
with
but there are other guys that I think that that you would think that are like some of those guys that you can also see. I mean, I think about that, like, right, like just imagine if the same way how somebody had the foresight to be able to jump in on Shea early on, establish a relationship with Converse of all places early on, right? And so if somebody was able to kind of jump in on one of these guys, like I think that that's what I think Puma tried to do with Scoot Henderson, thinking that he would be bigger. And I'm not mad at that, right? But I think that if you get it right with Nike, though, bro, where you could say, all right, you know what, this isn't necessarily a young guy under 25, and you say this guy doesn't have a, because there's only like about 15 guys in the league that got their own shoe. And so if you had the opportunity for that, I think that would be dope.
yeah. What's going on, man? What's what your boys looking like? The Saints.
Listen, man. Listen, listen, man. I've never been so uninterested in the NFL. And probably, bro, listen. Okay, let me tell you this. I try to keep up, but I don't really see there being any one storyline that's more interesting than the next for me. Right. So like when I watch it, like I'm always gonna hope Dallas lose. I'm always gonna root against the Cowboys, all right. But I think that even when you talk about that, right? I like when people talk about, like, I see people are trying to talk about the Eagles, right, and what they are or aren't doing, right. I know that your boys are looking pretty good as well. I see that Detroit's looking kind of good, but they've had some rough games like that. I saw them lose or just struggle with. And I'm seeing Kansas City, and I know Kansas City, as long as they got Pat Mahomes, they always gonna be able to kind of figure some things out. But listen, man, unless it's just me, like I knew my team was going to be trash going into it. And I think that we probably have the worst record in the league. The only other team that I think that's worse than us is the Panthers. And to be quite honest with you, though, bro, when we beat them, I knew we was trash. But
Mhm.
it tells me even if the Panthers win more games than us, I know that they trash if we beat them. But I mean, I'm talking about, bro, like I'll try to watch some games when I see some good teams playing.
Mhm.
And luckily with the league pass, I could do that. But I'm so not interested in this football season. Maybe when the playoffs come around or going toward the end of the season when the stakes is higher, maybe I might be more interested. But I'm talking about this is the most uninterested. Like you tell me, bro, what storylines am I missing out on this year if I haven't been paying attention?
The there's only one storyline. It's Shador Sanders. That's the only storyline. Everything
Okay.
else is based upon, if the Chiefs win or lose, and then the Cowboys. Other than that, that's it.
I am surprised about this resurgence from Daniel Jones because I'm gonna be honest. I thought he was just trash. And don't get me wrong, I know that they've been winning with Indiana, with Indianapolis, with him, and I kind of question probably their record. Like if I looked more into it, I would say, who do you got your wins and your highlights against? But I thought he was cooked though, bro. I thought he was just out of. I thought like he was finally exposed. So that's one thing. But I agree with you though, man. I think that it Shador Sanders to me has probably been one of the main things because I mean, let's just say when you go around the league, right?
Mhm.
And you say the AFC East. I know that the Patriots are leading their division, but the whole entire division looks a little weak. And who's actually afraid of the Patriots? It ain't like the Tom Brady Patriots back there. So you scratch them out the list. And then you say, well, you know what? The Browns in that division, they still got, you know what I'm saying, the Ravens, they still have Pittsburgh and everything. And now Aaron Rodgers hurt. My boy finally came back. Lamar Jackson just finally came back. The Bengals, they finally maybe are getting back Burrow.
Mhm.
And so in that division, you would have thought that if the Browns, if Shador is what we think he is, right? You think about how much you've missed out on with the fact that all of your division's quarterbacks have all been injured. Everybody who started for them have been injured. And you've been wasting time, pissing away time with Shador on the sidelines. Now, granted, he beat the Raiders, and it's the Raiders. They're trash also, though, bro.
Yeah, but if
But
he
I'm
would have
just sitting
lost,
here.
though, if he would have lost,
Yes,
so I'm not. This is the thing. A win is a win in the NFL.
a
I don't
win is a
because
win, bro.
because in any given day, somebody can. If the Raiders would have won in a dominant fashion, it doesn't change the fact that they sorry. It just means they put it together effort and did it. They want so, you know. My thing is that like Shador said, this was 1 week of practice. Imagine what it could have been if I would have had more. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? So he got to take advantage of the opportunity that he's given, and that's the biggest storyline. But
trash. Get the coach out of here. And I saw that the coach was like when they gave him out when they gave the little speech after the game, it was a very mild, good job, Shador. And then moving on to everybody else. And I'm thinking, like, wait a minute though, bro. Wait 1 minute though. How can you just gloss over the fact that y'all haven't won a game since October 1st or something crazy like that? You've been trying to put Dylan Gabriel out there in front of him. You've been calling up the guy Bailey Zappi from the practice squad. You've tried to do everything you can do to not play this man, and now you would. It's to me. We knew he just didn't like Shador,
mhm.
right? This was just the confirmation, right? That yeah, you just he won, statistically speaking, yeah, sure, he might not have threw for the most yards, got the most touchdowns or whatever, but you won, right? And it's hard to win in the NFL. I know my team only has done it one time this season, though, bro. But listen, man, get out my face. If I'm the Browns, I'm getting him out of there because to me that means that as the leader of our team, and as the primary influencer on the talent on the team, you don't know what's best for the team talent wise. You don't know how to scout like that. If you're telling me that everybody in the franchise think that Shador is trash, bro, you got me right. But if you see here say you're the only one that don't rock with him, get him out my face though, man. Get him. And listen, if he never got another job as a head coach because of this handling, I wouldn't be mad at it.
Yeah. Well,
I'm gonna tell you this though. I love Shador's handling of it from the beginning to the end. He said, "Well, he said, what do you think about that someone had asked him like, what do you think about all of the for all the fans who were excited to go ahead and see you get on out there, man, and finally get your shot?" And he said, "Hey, I'm what they've been looking for," and I like the confidence though, bro. I like the confidence going into it. I like how he handled it afterwards, though, bro. It was very humbling to see that someone who, you might lead with that confidence and you might lead with your ego a lot, though, bro. I get it. But at the same time, though, man, I truly respected how he handled it all the way around. Never talked outside of how never talked bad about the coaches, never talked bad about the other quarterbacks that got the opportunities before him. Nothing. So handled it much better than I would have, though, bro.
Yeah. But forget all of that. Let's talk about these Bears. Let's talk.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Hey, I ain't tooted the Bears horn not once this season. All I've been saying, and I will continue to say, is 1 week at a time for us. You know what I'm saying? It now the record is showing that we needed to get rid of Eberflus. And I like the energy that Eberflus had, but he just lost the locker room. Oh, ultimately, right? Ben Johnson's coming in and he pressed Caleb from the jump, and Caleb didn't like it at first, but now he respects it. You know what I'm saying? And Ben Johnson is the guy, bro. I like, the stock that he comes from or whatever, but the fact that, man, we just finding ways to win games, that's all. That's it. I still don't think we win in the Super Bowl, nothing like that. It's literally one game at a time, and we just happen to be first in the division right now. So it feels good, but again, not celebrating or anything. I'm more concerned about the Thunder, and I'm more concerned about the Longhorns, because obviously we got this big game this weekend in DKR. So that's where my focus is, and continuing to watch these Thunder dominate the NBA. Just praying for no injuries.
And listen, man, you know what I think is this is the one thing I think that to me is the irony, right? Is that I thought Eberflus was trash with y'all. Respectfully, I didn't know what he was good at. If he got the job, listen, I didn't know that he was even a previous defensive minded coach or defensive coordinator until he got the job with Dallas, and they said no. He was the head coach with y'all, and I don't know where he came from before that. And where did he come from before? I don't think
No
I ever.
idea.
I just know that he's the defensive coordinator now for Dallas. And listen, I see Dallas getting the score ran up on them usually, with the exception of this last game. But I see Dallas getting the score ran up on them where their defense can't stop a nosebleed. And he is their coordinator for them. So that's how I knew he was a defense. He had been a defensive coordinator in the past, though, bro. I just was blown away, though, man, at how terrible. Like, because when he was there, I never thought anybody, I never heard you brag about our defense. If we could just come along, no, I never heard you talk about that with them. So for me, that's the biggest thing that I laugh at, the fact that he said and maybe it's not his fault that the Dallas Cowboys defense is so terrible, though, bro. But man, they look bad.
Yeah, yeah. What else we got, bro?
Hey, listen, you know what? I think that this funny. You were talking about the Thunder, and
Mhm.
I think that that's probably for me, that's been probably one of the biggest things because the Saints have been so terrible, and we've been terrible now for probably 4 straight seasons, right? I just like I said, I've been checked out on rooting. Listen, I almost just say, hey, man, I'm a fan free agent. Who can I, at least for this season, who can I actually actively root for? Right? It'll never be Dallas. But I've been saying this for a while. I was very tempted, bro, to do that, especially seeing that we passed up on Shador Sanders, though, right? All those times. And so even now, because of that, I've been more resided to trying to catch more NBA games. Let me ask you this though, bro.
Mhm.
I didn't know that there were going to be so many NBA games that were just not broadcasted on like ESPN. You know how they ended their deal with TNT, right? I just realized that I like it, bro. Like I like now that it feels like I have more access to more. Now, mind you, I think that I don't. I probably have the league pass and don't know it, but I do like that I can watch a game just pulling up Peacock now, right? I think I had a problem. I don't know that I had a problem with it before, but I think that before it's almost like you had to watch games either on TNT or you had to watch it on ESPN. And I
Mhm.
like these other alternatives, though, bro, where you can catch the games at, though, bro.
Yeah, like Peacock and stuff.
Yeah, yeah. I've watched most. So oddly enough, most of the games that I've watched have been on Peacock. And the one thing that's interesting is that when they're on Peacock, they seem to be very much marquee matchups. So it's like a big game, right? And I think that's the one thing I think is interesting. It's always the Golden States on there. It's the Timberwolves. It's a face of the league that's on there though, man. So I actually enjoy that though, man. Like I don't there I don't want to I don't want to watch the Bulls necessarily. I don't care to watch the not the Thunder, but the Hornets. I don't. I'm not still not so sure about Orlando, but I do like though, man, that when I turn it on Peacock, bro, that it's usually a marquee matchup. That is usually a big name, though, man. And I suppose that was the purpose of them actually doing it that way, though, man. But I'm not mad at this new layout, though. I think I like it, though, bro. I thought I
Well,
was gonna feel disappointed that it wasn't on TNT, but I'm not mad at it though.
the problem I have is because the Thunder, our contract is still under FanDuel. So in
Mm,
Oklahoma City, you can't watch the Thunder on regular TV. It's the
that's
most
trash.
complaints that I hear from Thunder fans out here is not being able to just go to ABC or go to any local channel and be able to watch the Thunder. It's
Yeah.
tragic. Uh, and we have our ways that we watch it or whatever like that. So what I'm saying, I'm not tripping, but it's just trash though that a lot of Thunder fans is like, bro, I'm not trying to spend no extra such and such amount of dollars just to watch the game. Like, I think it's pretty stupid that we have our own professional team and can't even watch them. We can't watch every single game. It's stupid.
Not just that though. You possibly got the best team and the best young team without a doubt. The MVP, and you can't watch them on regular TV. That's insane though, bro. That you would do that though, bro. Absolutely insane.
And I
Let me
like
ask
to
you this
see.
though.
Okay, go ahead.
I do have a question for you. It's early on,
Mhm.
right? I don't think that we've cracked 20 games just yet, though, right? Who's impressed you outside of OKC?
I've been hearing a lot of smoke behind. I mean, obviously, Joker always comes up. The Spurs was cooking until, I mean, and not saying they still not cooking, but I'm just saying, the smoke behind it because Alien is out for a minute. And I think that uh who also has impressed me is Donovan Mitchell. I've been hearing his name pop up a lot.
Mm.
Um, Other than that, I mean, I- you know, John Morant stays in the news, obviously, but not for good reason.
Yeah,
Uh,
talk about that.
we'll get into that. But I'm just trying to think of like, yeah, I've been so focused on the Thunder that I'm gonna be honest that nobody else is really, like I said, I've been hearing a lot of conversation about how good Joker's doing, and then Donovan Mitchell, which I heard a very interesting comparison, and I'm interested to see what you think. Do you think, and let's talk prime now, prime careers. Do you think Donovan Mitchell is better than D Wade?
Mm.
Prime. Because
Prime?
because here's the thing. Obviously, it's been a
No,
long time since we've seen prime
no,
D Wade,
no.
but
I got it.
Donovan
I got it.
Mitchell.
I got you. I got you. No, no, no. Let me tell you the reason why I'm gonna say no. Prime D Wade won a ring without LeBron. So you talking about Prime D Wade entering his prime basically carried Shaq to a championship ring, right? So to me, that means something. And I don't want to just be one of those guys when you talk about ring culture. We're just talking about in their prime. He did that. He led a team. And granted, Shaq wasn't, he was still Shaq, not the Shaq from necessarily LA Shaq, but he was still on that right. He was a year removed, 2 years removed from the LA Shaq. but
Mhm.
it was still D Wade leading them without a doubt. And I think that the one reason why I would give it to D Wade over him is because it means something to me that D Wade has always been a two-way player. I still think of Donovan Mitchell as an offensively heavy player. When I don't look at him necessarily and say, oh, he's a two-way player. And not to say that he can't play defense. I'm just saying that I think that D Wade was always all NBA defense, everything. Like I think that he's like the all-time leader in blocks for guard. So now when we talk about prime, no, I don't get me wrong. I do like the comparison because they're about the same size, but I think that they were so different though, right? I think that um I think that Donovan Mitchell has a deeper offensive game than D Wade. But I think that D Wade to me, just overall to me was just the fact that he played defense as hard as offense. That means a lot to me. So I would probably say no, it's D Wade, and it's I'm
Okay.
not gonna say it's an easy thing, but it's easy to me though.
Okay. With that being said, and I know we've had a similar conversation before, and then we can move on to talk John Morant. Uh, Try not to be a prisoner of the moment. Everybody in their prime. Everybody in their prime. Is Shea better than Russ and KD? Like their prime? Because I mean, if you go back and watch the old Russ in his prime, Russ was a monster, bro. Russ was a monster.
If you're telling me so, if you're asking me if he's better than their prime, that would make him the all-time greatest Thunder
I
player
I
of
know what
all
I'm
time.
asking of you, and that is the conversation. Because yes, Shay did get us over the hump, right? But you still talking about prime Kevin Durant and prime Russ. Are they better than
Okay.
Shay? And
Okay. Here we go. Here we go. All right. This is gonna sound, and I don't want to sound like too much of a prisoner of the moment. But damn, let me tell you. I'm trying to make sure I'm thinking about this when I say this. I think you can okay. I'm only gonna say their time with OKC, not
yes,
their
but
time
but see,
outside of OKC.
but to me,
See
that's
that that
prime though.
that is not that because see now I don't think that's I don't see because this is my thing about it because KD's prime didn't stop once he left Golden State. I still think that KD is still in his prime now. To me, KD is outside of LeBron has had the second longest prime that I've ever seen. Right?
Here's the reason why I disagree with that, because Kevin had to do more in OKC. So to me, he showed more of what he was capable of doing, and he lived in that. But okay, but even still, just with that criteria alone, I'm
If
not
we're
gonna argue
if
with you.
if
Let's
if
just
I'm
talk about
talking
the
about,
Thunder
but if
year.
we're talking about just in the Thunder years,
Yeah.
all of them won the MVP one time,
Hmm.
right? Okay. See, this is why I'm struggling to answer that.
I, I,
Why I'm struggling to answer that question is because Russ and KD did it in more spectacular form, right? They to me they had better highlights than Shea. Shea is consistent 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30. And it's just like yawn, he got 30. And it's not the most he's not gonna dunk on you. He's not gonna it's not gonna be like the daggers that highlight. It's not, it's just consistent 30, right? And I think that because it's a consistent 30 with no heights, but no valleys as well, that's what makes it tough because everybody else, like Shea hasn't had to me the lows that Russ and KD had in the highest moments,
Mhm.
right? Shea never lost when he was expected to win, right? When they lost, you understood that they lost because of where they were. But KD and Russ lost when people expected them to win, right? Um, damn, bro, that is a damn good question.
It is because, like you said, when you look at the highlights, like you just look.
I don't think okay. Here we go. Here we go. I'm a say this. This is what I want to say. His prime as a Thunder to me better than KD, but not better than Russ. That's the way
Okay,
I look at it.
so you got him over
Here's what
KD, but you don't have him
I
over
got him
Russ.
over KD, but I don't have him over Russ. And here's the reason why I say that. The reason why I say, oh my gosh. Okay, I'm gonna stay on that one. The reason why I say that is because again, we talk about just his time with the Thunder, and to me, Kevin Durant was better after he left OKC, right? Much better.
He had
So
to
it's
do
almost like
less.
his prom.
He
Huh?
had to do
Well, either
less,
way,
bro.
maybe he had to do less,
He
but I'm
did.
saying he even but listen, he had to do less, but he was more of what we knew KD to be when he left. So by that I'm saying this. When he left, yeah, he had to do less, but offensively, he was more skilled. Defensively, he was a better defender when he left, right? And I think that the part and that means something to me because he left, and so I got to remove all the years after and just say only then maybe. And people might think I'm crazy for saying looking at it that way, but I think that because Russ won the MVP immediately after KD left. Did the historic triple double. That means something to me still. The triple double seasons mean something to me still. And I just think that to me, his prime was full of freakish athletic plays. And regardless of what the lows are, the highs are some of the highest highs.
Yeah. Russ
And I
Russ is
think
Russ
that's
is the Brett Favre of the NBA.
Uh, yeah, that's a good comparison, bro. You lead it in touchdowns, but you also lead in interceptions, though, bro. But part of me feels like that the championship for Oklahoma should supersede all of that, though, bro. I
It
just, I
should.
just, I,
That's why I asked
I
you
have
that
to figure out.
because you mentioned the Donovan Mitchell and the D Wade, and you instantly went to the ring. That's what prompted the question. Because I get it. And let's be real. Shea might not even be in his prime yet. He's
See, so okay, so this is what I'm saying. Okay, here's what I mean by that. Okay, when Russ and KD on their last seasons in their last seasons with the Thunder, right? If you just said their career ends right then and there, if the NBA had a Hall of Fame, not just basketball, if the NBA had a Hall of Fame and you base it off of their last season and what they accomplished up to then, I think that both of those guys still go if they never bounced another ball after them. I think both of them were all-time great players right on their very last game. Shea, you can say the same thing, right? Except that he got a championship when the others didn't. So now you got me walking his back, and I'm trying not to be a prisoner of the moment.
you know, and here's the
I
crazy,
think that
you know what?
I think that Shea just don't. You know what it is, though, bro. I think what it is Shea just doesn't have the epic plays, though, man. He
See,
don't.
you say that, right? But you know whose clips they always put Shea next to? This is what's funny that you say that. I'm glad you said it again. They always put Shea, like how they'll do Michael Jordan with Kobe, right?
Yeah.
Well, they would do Shea with Kobe. They there's the comparisons out there. So it's funny to me that you say that he's not exciting or he doesn't do whatever.
It's that, you know what it is though, man. I think that what makes, not to say that he's not exciting. So this is what I think. I think that what makes them so different, right, is that Russ, to me, Russ is natural talent, right? Everything from him is God given, explosiveness, it's physicality, right? And I think that what makes KD is skilled that nobody's seen at that particular size, but it's God given talent, right?
Hmm.
And I'm not saying that Shay's isn't. I just think that Shay's talent to me reminds me more of Steph in the sense that not the shooting, is that Save is a skill that you just have to be able to work on. It's just pure skill, right? Steph, yeah, he has to have some athleticism to be in the league, but like if you were building a player, it's 95% just pure skill. And I think that Shea is very much the same thing, and that's why you don't see Shea dunking on people like that. You don't see him with the explosive putbacks. You don't see him like a lot, I'm not buying the whole he gets so many free throws. That's not the point. I'm just saying that the Shea highlights aren't as explosive to me though,
No,
bro.
no, they're not.
And
They're not. He's not dunking on nobody. Matter of fact, I just sent you the TikTok. It's not. He's not dunking on people like Russ is. He ain't dunking on people like KD used to. It's stuff that he's worked on that just got progressively better. But my thing is that they compare him right now to Kobe as far as like the way, like his mannerisms, the shot selections, just like that's what they got him compared to, bro. And you know,
I'm watching what you sent me, bro. And maybe him and Kobe are about the same.
uh-huh.
They were about the same size. Kobe just had a little bit more muscle.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't get me wrong, I get it, but here's the thing. I think that where it's different, I can't see. This is where I look at it. Now, what I can appreciate about this is this, though, right? This is y'all. They're comparing him to the old Kobe,
Yeah.
not
Not,
number eight
not the
Kobe,
eight,
and
not the
not
number
the
eight,
first 24.
right?
Yeah, so all these are Kobe in his last 5 years highlight. And I'm not mad at that because I think at some point, just like how Jordan transformed his game in the later years and got to that post on his stuff, I respect that though, bro. But you're comparing it, you're comparing, yeah, I don't see no all these, like I said, all of these are Kobe with the peach fuzz buzz. These ain't the Kobe's, not even Kobe with the hair. And I like this Kobe too. But I didn't forget eight, bro. And I didn't forget the early on Kobe either, though, man. But and if I'm being honest with you though, bro, I think that Shea was more efficient than Kobe. I think that Kobe was got a lot of his shots up by volume, and I don't think that it takes Shea like that to get that many.
No, because he said
So,
not in the
bro,
third. He said not after the third quarter, bro.
I don't want to, like I said, I'm trying not to use recency, bro.
Hmm.
But I honestly believe, man.
Okay, last question. I know I keep saying last question, but you just making me think because we transition into where I'm going. Can Shea be the face of the league as a foreign player?
Okay. He's foreign, but not that foreign to me. It's different. So I look at him differently
He's
than how I
Canadian
look
though,
at. Yeah, but I get that though, man. But I don't look at him like Giannis,
because he played
right?
for Kentucky or something.
Well, he played for Kentucky. He speaks American English, right? He is very much. He is as to me. He don't. He's as American as any other black dude you would hear. Like he's American. He doesn't to me sound like Joel Embiid talking. He don't sound like Giannis talking. He doesn't sound foreign when he speaks. And so I think that because of that, yes, he could. And here's a crazy thing about it. I think that the reason why I don't think the Shea is right now the face of the league, hard face, is because I don't think that he is as eccentric personality wise as the style that he puts out.
Okay.
Listen, style wise, yes, it's very much, but the charisma in speaking, it doesn't come across like Ant. And maybe there's two different kinds of confidence, right? I think that you know what it is. It's like this. What they remind me of is is quiet luxury versus loud luxury. Quiet luxury to me is when someone is wearing a $2,000 t-shirt, right? And you see it and you think it's just a Hanes shirt. But this is a cashmere shirt. It got all this other stuff that go into it, and it costs $2,000, right? Whereas to another person might have a shirt and it got all this gaudy little print on it and it looks it, right? Same price. It's just quiet to me, quiet money, right? And I think that while that's to me, while Shay's style might be a little bit more eccentric, I don't think that his personality is. It's not as in your face as I think Ant is. I think the Ant's all about telling you how good he is and going to show you. Whereas to I think the Shay is all about, nah, just watch how I move and you gonna tell. So I think that holds you back because you don't really, you're not as outgoing with your position in the league. I think that that's where it's a little hard though.
Did you see KD's Dream 5?
No.
It's him, Shay, Clay, Alien, and KG.
Play, no Steph.
Exactly. That was his Dream 5.
Hey, listen, I'm not mad at that for one reason. The one reason why I say that is because I think that Clay is probably the ultimate team player in these NBA, these last 10 years, right?
Mhm.
And I say that from the standpoint of Clay that scored all them points on 5 dribbles before. I think that he's technically the second best shooter I've ever seen. And I think that what's disappointing to me is in these latter years of Clay since his injuries, though, bro, at how people are quick to call him washed. It makes me so mad to hear people say that about Clay, though, bro. So I'm not mad at you adding Clay because I'm thinking that if you're saying you're gonna put Shea as your PG, then that means you've removed Steph from that conversation. So if you say you remove Steph from that, I don't think that there's an issue with you having the second best shooter to me in that place. So I'm not that mad at that when I think of that though.
Yeah.
No.
Speaking
And
of
I think
Clay,
that Wimby, and listen, and I think that this was crazy to me. I think that it is interesting to me the Wimby because like when I watch him out there, bro, it's still I say it all the time. It's weird to my eye, but everything makes sense with him on defense as far as like when I see how much he alters everybody's shot from going into the paint and everything like that.
mhm,
You got to shoot it a little higher on up. You got to do this. That. So I respect the defense. Offensively, still weird to my eye though, bro.
yeah.
Still very weird.
Um, Speaking of Clay, beef. John Morant in the news for everything but playing basketball. He gets into it with Clay. What we doing with young Morant, bro?
So man, I think that I could be wrong. I could be wrong. It feels like John Morant's trying to get himself traded, bro. If you start to be in the if okay, if you've already kind of voiced your displeasure with how your coaches are using you, because his minutes are down, right? And not just that his minutes are down at clutch moments. And I think that the issue that he's saying is that they say, "Hey, Ja, you know what do you think?" Ask him, "What do you think about when what are your opinion when the coaches didn't have you in at this particular time?" And he was like, "Hey, you got to ask them. Maybe they think they got a better chance of winning when I'm not out there, or whatever." Though, bro, something I'm paraphrasing that. But I think that he's already voiced his displeasure with his minutes. He's at a career low in minutes, probably career low in points. Just all around, there's something going on that either he's not saying that the team's not saying, right? But I think though, bro, that it seems like Ja Morant, when I think of somebody being disruptive like that, right? While their points are down, I assume that you're trying to get traded, a la Jimmy Butler, right? Like you're trying to get traded. Um, it's crazy to me because Doc, I think Ja Morant also might got the hottest basketball shoe out right now, though, bro. Hottest basketball shoe out right now. And you out here with your hot basketball shoe, you might not even make the All-Star team this year, though, bro. So, but when you're in the news or on the highlights for anything more than your actual play, Doc, come on, man. I got a question for you.
What's
This
up?
have we seen the best John Morant has to offer already? Then is
Yes,
everything that you think so?
yes. His injuries, that's just gonna wear on you, bro. And
Mm.
it for one, it's attitude, right? Like to me, Ant, especially watching starting five, Ant didn't understand how to train. He was one of those. He was so much of a street baller. When I say street baller, not like he likes playing street ball, but just I got it. So it is just is. But now he started to understand on what I need to do to get better. Ja still seems to me at this phase in his career that he's still just I got it. And I don't know that he's putting the effort in. Like you see, right? A Shea developing his three-pointer now, and his skills are still growing, and they're all roughly around the same basketball age. So to me, if you're not even putting effort to be on the floor right now. So that means you're not putting any effort on getting better. I don't think I think it's going to be later on in his career before he decides to start to add something to his bag. I don't. Yeah.
When you add, if you do that later on in your career, that's later on in your career. You don't have that. See, this is why to me, I like this is the thing I think for me, I am so much of I'm enamored when I see players that can do things in the NBA based off of athleticism, right? Sheer athleticism. That's why I like Anthony Edwards, right? When I think that you got the bounce and it's just athleticism because it can go. And so while you got it, I enjoy it. It's why I enjoy still watching LeBron James as much. It's why I never get tired of Russ because they've had some way of extending that athleticism longer in their years. And so I just wonder if you're telling me that Ja Morant's not going to be able to dunk over everybody. And he's not going to be able to jump the highest, than everybody else, though, bro. And you're telling me that late in 5 more years, maybe 4 more years, that you finally get a consistent three ball jump shot. It's just that might be too late, then,
Yeah.
right? Because
That's what
that
I'm
might be
saying.
too much to
That's
overcome.
right. And that's why I said, see, like I said, when you got the MVP of the league that's still putting in work, consistent work of no, I'm not satisfied. He's told you my whole goal is to be better than yesterday. I'm disappointed when I only have a 30-point game. And his wife is like, what are you talking about? You had 30. That's not enough. Like that's not enough.
That's normal. 30 is the normal.
Right. So when you have a mindset like that, but then you look at a person who's wasting away his talent, I think that's the best we gonna get of him, bro. I don't.
Already. So what we
It's got to happen in the next 2 years of his mindset change. Somebody has got to be able to reach him mentally and be like, bro, you got the keys and you still don't want to unlock the kingdom because you too late. Like you're lazy, you're satisfied. Like you Ja has so much potential, but that's it though. Like potential is not gonna get it. And it's the same thing, the conversations that people had about Ant 2 years ago, right? Where it's like y'all was in the Western Conference Finals twice. When is it gonna click for y'all to go to the next level? Like the window is closing on y'all, bro. And you're the catalyst. Like you can't be in an OKC game and score 2 points and be like, oh, I just decided to pass the ball today. Nah, bro, you the best player on the team, and we trying to make you the face of the league. Like you got to grow up quicker.
I'm very surprised at how fast the window closed on Memphis. Like I'm talking about, it took Ja Morant being out for that season, and then before you know it, they're trading Desmond Bain. They blowing up. They're basically rebuilding, and it's like at some point I'm just like, bro, like I thought that the team was, and maybe it still is built primarily around Ja. But I mean, listen, if the coaches are basically saying and not playing him, they probably believe that either they can win without him or they probably think that they have a better possibility of winning. I don't know where you trade him and what you get in return for him. I'm going to assume that it's draft picks. But when you trade him, though, right, you got to trade Jerry and Jackson as well, though, bro. And that's where I think that that's a crazy thing to
I
look
don't
at.
think so.
Like,
I don't think you don't have to trade Jet. I think two places you can trade Ja. If you still trying to salvage and build around some people, either trade them and one of them is gonna be it's gonna be about the star power comparison, not so much about you're about to elevate. You're gonna still win. Then in that scenario, you might want to trade Jack, but Melo, trade him for Melo or trade him for Trey Young.
hey, listen, bro. Trey Young is gonna get moved at some point. He ain't gonna. The Hawks don't keep you the Hawks don't keep you with the Hawks for that long. And Trey Young is probably like in his second year of his big contract. So he is due to get traded out of Atlanta. And they love, I'm not talking about, listen, bro. Atlanta loves Trey Young. But, bro, let me tell you though, man. I think Atlanta would love Ja Morant as well, though,
I
bro.
know they
I
would.
think that they would love Ja Morant. Here's the issue though. Do you think that that's equal value for both teams?
Not for Atlanta, right? But you're getting somebody younger, and you would hope that a new environment would change. He gonna put butts in seats, and that energy might change. That's what you're hoping for. Um, for Memphis, you do it because you're getting somebody who's gonna put them numbers up. He can put butts in seats. He's not old. You know what I'm saying? So it could work for both parties, in my opinion. It could work because then it's like now you got Trey Young and JJ. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's worth the investment. And if you're Atlanta, you know what I'm saying? Hey, we moved off of that big contract. That Atlanta vibe could be all that y'all need, that new energy. It could work, bro.
And listen, man, I'm gonna tell you this. The one thing I know for sure is that the Hawks have never been on the winning end of a trade. Never. That as long as I've been in Atlanta, I've never seen them be on the winning end of a trade, or I've never even seen them be on the winning end of extending a player, right? So the closest that we had, they made Joe Johnson the highest paid player, and 2 years later they traded him. They extended out Josh Smith, and then probably like a year later traded him out to the Pistons, and maybe they got from underneath him though, but he was really good for the Hawks though, bro. But
Mhm.
all the trades that Atlanta have ever made, all the draft movements up and down. Never. Trey Young is the closest thing that I think that the Hawks have gotten close to right when they traded him for. But they traded him for Luca, right? But I mean, Trey Young has been Trey Young. He's been putting up numbers. He can't be that mad at that though, right? And who's to say that I believe that if Luca would have played for the Hawks, he would not be the same Luca that was over with the math. And it's the Hawks' luck for it not to work out like that though, bro. And I honestly believe that if Trey Young would have went to the Mavs, Trey Young would likely be Luca. It's just how the Hawks have been with luck with that though, man. I wouldn't be mad at Trey Young getting traded for Ja Morant. I just don't think that it moves either team up anymore. But I think that if you're Memphis and you feel like you done with Ja Morant and he feels like he's ready to move on from you as well, then I think that then to me it's the Memphis wins out on that deal. I don't know necessarily what the Hornets are gonna do with with him outside of just getting him to fill up seats. I think that the Hornets just need more older guys starting, though, bro. They need some OGs out there. And I just don't know if Ja Morant is the OG you need to have out there, though, bro.
I mean, I don't either, but at the same time, you don't owe John Morant nothing. If you done with him, you just trying to get another star in there to try to help build around. So if you feel like Melo can be somebody you can build around, then okay, do it. Like you said, it's not gonna make anybody a more
Yeah,
contender with the trade, but at the same time, it's not necessarily about that when you're trying to change the culture of your team. You gotta have some starting block on building around somebody. And if you can bring in another star, because Memphis is still a small market, it ain't like nobody's lobbying to go to Memphis.
yeah,
So
you usually gonna have to draft a guy there. And
yeah,
listen, I'm gonna be honest, and to me, I still don't know that LaMelo Ball plays winning basketball, bro. Like
yeah, you don't know that
I
you
get
can
the
win with him. I
highlights,
get it.
I don't know that you can win with how he plays like that, though, bro.
But at the same time, you're not necessarily starting from scratch, though, from like losing
Sure.
the ticket holders, though. Like it's still a business. So when you're
Yeah,
talking about bringing in another star, whether you can necessarily win with him or not, you ain't winning with Ja. So
that's true.
again, neither one of it, business sense on top of, is this enough to convince JJ to want to stay? You know what I'm saying? Can we bring some other pieces and get some shooters around him? And
Mm,
I mean, you're still getting the spectacular plays, but
mm.
a fresh face in to maybe work around. You know what I'm saying? So
Listen, the Hawks, listen, the Hawks are eventually gonna trade Trey Young.
yeah,
I just don't know where he's gonna go. Right. I don't. I don't know, bro. The John Morant is I that is my question that I always wonder is have we seen what it's gonna get for John Morant? Right. And if they're willing to let him go, I think that they still have to feel on some level or another that yeah, it ain't gonna get any better for him though, man. Hey man, it's Thanksgiving week. What you got going on? We talked about if you making plans though, man. You cooking anything special?
Um, Layla wants me to do my banana pudding, so I'm gonna probably do that because I mean I always outsource the turkey. My homeboy does a phenomenal smoked turkey. That's how I support him
Mm,
every year. So I'm going. I already put my order in. And then my brother-in-law's doing the ham. So yeah, and then I know Samaya's like she's so gung-ho about doing the sides or whatever like that. So basically, the way it works for me is based upon what leftovers are left on Thursday is what determines what I cook for Friday. Because I'm huge on Thanksgiving leftovers. Like that's I'm going the full week. When I'm at work, they already know what time it is, and because the
mm.
food just get better and better. And plus, for my health stuff, I gotta cook stuff a little bit different anyway. So based upon what happens Thursday determines what happens Friday. Because Friday I'm off, and that's when I'm gonna be cooking my Thanksgiving just for me because my family don't really rock with leftovers like that. So, but yeah, we
Rocky
probably
the
do.
Real, listen, Rocky the Real say he got the best fried turkey in all of Oklahoma, bro.
His fried turkey good. His fried turkey is good, but I like I'm a smoked. I tried the fried turkey just because I've never had it
Yeah,
before, and it's good. But I'm going with the smoke is for me, bro.
yeah.
It's the smell
No,
that
I
just changed the game.
yeah. Now I think that for me though, man, I'm hosting this year though, man. My brother and his family is supposed to be coming on into town. So I'm very excited about that though, man. I'm also like in general, I'm like, I'm big on the fall because of the holiday seasons though, man. I've already been amped on up for that for quite some time there, man. So now I'm totally locked in for Thanksgiving though, bro. I think that for me, because I'm hosting, of course, I'm doing a lot of the cooking on my end anyway, though, man. So yeah, I think I'm gonna have to start pre-cooking some of my stuff probably as soon as tomorrow.
Yeah,
But I'm making sweet potato pie for the first time though, man. And so I'm actually excited to give it a go. Let's see what it do though, man. But yeah,
yeah,
I've been wanting to try it though for some time.
yeah. Well, cool, bro. Look, we are the Slash Brothers. We appreciate y'all for rocking with us. Happy Thanksgiving and enjoy your holidays. Please be safe if you're gonna be in them Black Friday streets, and we will see y'all next time.
greatest podcast of all time. The Slash Brothers podcast. The greatest podcast.
Can you dig it,
of all time.
sucker?